speaker, Mr. Bradley, would you like to? Yes.
Call Lieutenant Barge, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
Lieutenant Barge.
Okay. Thank you.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you.
I do.
So right there, so make sure you talk directly to the microphone. Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
All right, how are you?
Could you please state your first and last name for the record, spelling your last name?
It's Tim Barge, B-A-R-G-E.
And Lieutenant Barge, how are you employed?
I'm a second shift lieutenant for the University of Cincinnati Police Department.
Okay, how long have you been with the University of Cincinnati Police Department?
Going on 14 years.
Okay. And as the second shift lieutenant, what are your responsibilities?
Supervising second shift patrol.
Okay, what's that mean?
Managing the shift.
Okay. And how long have you been in that position?
I'll be a lieutenant on second shift 2 years in October.
2 years in October, okay. And prior to that, what position did you hold?
Sergeant,
Okay, and where were you at that time?
third shift.
Third shift, and what did you do as a sergeant?
Basically the same thing, supervise third shift patrol.
Okay. And have you worked with any other police agencies besides the University of Cincinnati?
I was a special deputy for Hamilton County Sheriff's Department for 2 years prior to UC.
And I'm going to direct your attention back to July 19th, 2015. At that time, what was your rank?
Sergeant,
Okay. And were you were supervising the third shift at that time?
that's correct.
Okay. And on July 19th, would you wear a uniform to work, or what were you?
Uniform.
Uniform, okay. Were you working around 6:30 on that day?
I was not. I was called into work.
Okay. And at some point, you were called in due to a police-involved shooting, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, tell us what did you do, and why did they bring you in?
Well, I run the camera program, the body camera program. So I'm the administrator where we store the evidence.
Okay. Well, can you tell us what did you do to run the body camera program?
Can you repeat that again?
What did you do? You said you ran the body camera program. What does that mean? What did you do?
I manage the camera program.
Okay.
When we first initiated wearing body cameras, I was in charge of that. Issuing the body cameras, managing the videos.
Okay. And you can screen that towards you too, because you will do that. Thank you. So when did you guys get body cameras?
We got them on the end of 2013. We ended up buying them in 2014.
2014, okay. And in 2014, everybody got them at that point, or how did it
Every
work?
officer was issued a body camera.
Okay. So in 2013, when it first started, did you guys have some testing, or what did you do?
That's correct. That's what we did.
Okay. And you were in charge of that?
I was.
Okay. And after the shooting, then since you were in charge of the program, you came in and tell us what you did.
I was responsible for downloading the video or uploading the video to evidence.com, which is our storage software. I received the body camera from Sergeant Winslow from CPD.
All right, I'm going to hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 10. Can you look in there and tell me if you recognize what that is?
It's a body camera video, or camera.
The body camera. Okay, you hold it up and let the jury see it. Now, is that the whole camera? Is that what each officer is assigned, that piece, or is there more to it?
There's more to it. There's actually a bracket. I actually brought one in. You want to see it?
Yes, please.
This is the mounting bracket that the camera goes into.
Okay, can you tell us how it works, just so we all understand?
At the beginning of each shift, these cameras are stored into a dock station that actually uploads any videos that are on the camera. They erase the camera and they charge the camera. So when an officer gets ready for shift, they're going to come out, they're going to grab their camera that's assigned to them. They're going to take their mounting bracket, slide it in. And then they're going to mount it on their breast pocket.
Okay, and how do they mount them on their breast pocket?
There's a pen holder in our shirts that are issued, and that's what we use to mount.
Okay, are they hooked like from the back?
There's a metal clip that actually slides into the breast pocket.
Okay, so it slides in perfectly, so it's secured there on the shirt. Okay, and where does the body camera go on the officer?
Chest level, usually are on the left or right side, depending on where your pen holders are in the shirt.
Okay, and so it's a hole that's in the shirt. Is there two or just one? So you can choose size? Or
There's
just
only one.
location? Okay. All right, and that exhibit 10, that is the body camera video that you were given on that day. And previously you were able to look at serial numbers and make sure that that was a body camera that was worn by Rick Tenzing.
It is.
Now, you're in charge of the program. I assume that University of Cincinnati has some policy and procedure manual regarding the body cameras?
We do.
Okay, and what is the procedure pertaining to, when you activate your body camera, when you won't activate it?
Well, depending on the situation, but if you're initiating a run like a traffic stop, as soon as you put out the call, you're supposed to activate your camera.
Okay. Let me back up a little bit just to make sure that ladies and gentlemen understand. So you said you first come on your shift, you put your body camera on. What do you have to do? What happens at that point?
The officers have to actually power the camera on. This is your activation button. This will actually put it in a standby mode. So it's actually recording 30-second loops, but it's powered on.
Okay. And when you say 30-second loops, what do you mean? Just so we make sure that we all know what you mean.
Basically, when an officer makes a stop or interaction with the public, they want to activate their camera, they're going to double tap it. It'll go back 30 seconds and record video, not audio. So if you're running traffic, you might catch the traffic infraction before you activate the camera.
Okay. So sometimes in the video you can even see their hand where they push it. There'll be no sound, but close to when they push it, then you'll start hearing something.
When you activate your camera, when you double tap the activation button and you start recording, it's going to start recording audio and video at that time. It's going to go back 30 seconds and show you the video 30 seconds prior to activating the camera.
Okay, so like you said, you could maybe catch a traffic infraction or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. And at that point, after you double tap it and turn it on, how is it turned on?
How to deactivate the camera?
Yes.
Or the recording? To activate it, you got to double tap it. To deactivate it, stop recording, you have to hold the same button that you use to activate the camera in for 3 to 5 seconds.
Okay. And does the camera let you know that it's been deactivated somehow?
It'll beep.
A beep? Okay. All right, Your Honor. I'd like to enter Exhibit 10 into evidence at this time.
No objection.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. It'll be admitted.
All right, you said that you came in and you got that, you docked it onto the docking station.
That's correct.
Can you tell, is that just the system that goes out on the internet, you said, on something? Can you
It's
explain?
cloud-based storage.
Okay. Go ahead and just walk us through it.
When we receive the camera, the officers bring the cameras in at the end of their shift. If they've had any videos that need to be uploaded, the camera gets mounted. All they have to do is take it up to the dock, plug it in, and walk away.
Okay. And so it's uploaded, once it's uploaded to this location, what do you have to do to get that video back? Or make a copy of it?
To make a copy of it, there's only certain people that have permission to actually make copies of the video. You have to be an administrator or command staff and above.
And in this case, there was a copy made of the stop in question from this case. Let me hand you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 12. It's just a CD. I think you may have seen it previously. And you could download what was on the body camera onto a CD so that you can give it to someone.
If you're an administrator, that's correct.
All right. All right, I'd like to enter State's Exhibit number 12 into evidence and publish it to the jury.
I assume that's the body worn camera from the system?
Yes.
No,
Thank you. Okay, so then.
While we're loading that up, sir, do you see Mr. Tenzing in the front?
I do.
Can you point to and describe what he's wearing?
It's a gray suit with a blue tie.
I'll stipulate the identification.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And this body camera that we're getting ready to view from July 19th of 2015, that's the body camera of Mr. Tenzing, is that correct?
Well, I have to see it first, yes.
9233 traffic stop. I'll be on Still Street, just off of Vine.
Now, at the beginning of the video, we can see some type of computer or something. Can you tell us what is that?
MDT or MDC?
MDC?
MDT or MDC.
Okay. And what does that stand for and what is that?
It's a mobile data terminal.
Okay. And what do police officers do with those?
They can run plates, SOC numbers. It's basically get information on the person they're looking at.
All right, before we watch the video, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 15. Can you look at that and tell me if you recognize what that represents?
This is a picture of an MDC.
Of MDC. Okay, so that would be the printout of like this, what's in this area here.
That's correct.
And that would be a representation of what would come up on the computer at the time if someone typed in, what are the different things you could type in?
License plates, social security numbers.
And that time, when you run that through, then you would get information about whatever car or person you're looking into at that time?
That's correct.
All right, can you keep going?
25 Mill Street.
Hey, firm. Still just off of Vine.
Just plate.
Okay, we're slow to stop. We're on Wright Street, just off of Still. Ohio George Lincoln North, 6917. Occupied by 1. Hey, how's it going, man? Good. Officer Tenzing, UC Police. You have a license on you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Is this your car?
Yeah.
It's going back to the female, actually.
My wife, and then it's signed the lease.
Okay. We don't have a front license plate on the car.
Oh, I just come out here about it. I have it.
What's that?
It's right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's got to go where the front plate's supposed to go. You don't have to reach for it. It's okay. You have a license on you?
Yeah.
We'll say that bottle on the floor there. About a what? Okay. Do you have a license on you? Okay. Do you know where that license at? Is that or what? Okay. I'm gonna ask you again. Do you have your license
I
on you?
have license. You can take my name.
So do you not have your license on you? I'm asking you a direct question. Do you have your license on?
I thought I did. I had it. Why did you put me on it for?
Again, the front tag.
But it's not illegal to have a front page.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to ask you again. Do you have a license on
I
you?
have a license. You can run my name.
Okay. Is that not on you then?
I don't think I have a name.
Be straight up with me. Are you suspended?
No, I'm not doing it.
Why don't you have your license on you?
I'm just done it. I'm sorry. I'm going to go in the house.
Okay. Where do you stay at? Down
Right
here?
around the window.
Okay. Well, until I can figure out if you have a license or not, go ahead and take your seatbelt off for
I
me.
ain't even do that.
Go ahead and take your seatbelt off. Stop! Right through the back side, right to right. One shot forward. Keep down the left, lift up the car. Go. Stop. You good? I thought he was going to run me over.
You okay?
I'm good. 33, started medics this way. We got gunshot wound to the head.
Right to the left, yeah.
33, I'm not injured. I just got ran over by the car. He took off on me. I discharged one round. Struck the nail in the head. Oh, I thought I was going to get run over. He didn't reach for anything. Stand back! Stand back! I stopped hugging in the car. I thought I was going to run over. Stand back! He just took off on me, man. I thought he was going to run me over. Somebody by 5 or 4?
You go block off that way? Do we have anyone down there? I'll go take that.
I think I'm okay. He was just dragging me.
Yeah,
I thought I was going to get run over. I was trying to stop him.
Tell him to get over here. Huh? You're not going to be able to go past my car, but go. Watch the houses.
Somebody switch to 4 advising?
No.
We're in 4 right now.
4?
We're in 4. We're east of Vine Street, yeah. Oh, I thought he was going to run me over. He was dragging me. Yeah, he took off on me. My hand was caught inside. Yeah, I fired one around. I finally got caught in the steering wheel or something. Stay back! Stay back! You're good! You're good! Stay back!
Go ahead.
Go back inside, Seth. Go back inside. God, he's dragging me, man.
Good.
I'm good. I just got my hand and my arm caught inside.
I saw that.
Damn. I think I'm okay.
What was he reaching for?
He kept reaching around. I told him to step out of the car. He's going to produce a license. So I was going to put it in drive, start taking off. I reached in and I shot one round at him. He took off on me. I got my hand caught in the car. I almost got ran over by him. I'm good. Got dragged by him. Got caught inside the car.
Get somebody go off on down the right.
I think I'm okay.
You alright?
Yeah, he drugged me in his car.
Okay.
Yeah.
And still and right. 40 to the right, take right to
You need medical.
I think I'm okay. I just said, I barely got tired, so I'm okay.
Sure. You don't need medical.
I'll get checked out anyways. Wouldn't hurt. I mean, my left arm hurts a little bit on the other side. So I'm just getting caught in there, so.
We're going to have a lot of officers here. Do you want me to take them?
Go ahead. George, leave the door open, 6917.
Can you read the budget as far as initially, it's all sent from the truck stuff, right?
That's there. Here's someone stopped from behind.
That's your weapon?
And stopped from behind from his melon. He had no front license plate on the car. I pulled out behind him. I let him up down here behind his bill. He drove down still and didn't stop. Didn't take off, but just was slow to stop. Turned up here and stopped. Right where Linda Schmidt is. My left arm hurts a little bit. I got dragged by the car. He took off on me, got my hand stuck inside the car. And, my car's down there. No.
Are you hurt? You need fire?
My left arm hurts a little bit. When it hurt to get checked out, it was.
I'll get it 42, 45. Okay, fire with fire. This location. You got worried about stuff?
Our sergeant's right there.
Have we got an
You want me to give you the rundown?
He stays with you. Well, I'm on the seat. Together. Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about that. Actually, John?
I think I'm good, yeah. I missed the tires luckily, but I'm just getting dragged by them.
Did you tell them what these were? No. He hurt slightly. He's dead. So, well, he's in the car.
You can check out my left arm. It's pretty tingly and hurts a little bit.
That's in section.
Okay. I'm hot. I'm good. My left arm hurts a little bit. That's it.
We got fire at home with you.
Okay, yeah. Who was up here when you went? Okay. And I think my trainee saw it as well. Yeah, get him in the car and get him cooled off.
Trainee saw it as well.
My back all ripped up.
Is that your new guy right there? Okay.
I'm gonna need you to take one of these 4220, do you need any other units directly at your location? If not, I'll send them to the area.
I don't need anybody to the scene. I need the south end of this secured. I'm also going to need a traffic stop coming off of Glencoe. I think it's the street that's down at the bottom. I need a traffic post up there, make sure nobody else comes down. You want me to handle this like we do with ours? And
From here, I mean, yeah,
because what we do is everybody that's involved in it, we have a control officer, and we get them in a car, and anybody that was involved in it, we get them in an air conditioned unit, so they can cool off. Yeah. Make sure everybody that was here, make sure you don't have any extra holes in it.
I think it's a good idea. I mean,
I'll just get checked out just to be safe. All that dog kind of thing really
I
hurts
think
me
it'd be
bad.
good. Right here.
Yeah.
This one we need to get it checked.
Back in, we'll check you out real quick.
Okay.
Stay with us.
Here's the other one, all the way back from 3 to about 4. I'm all 3, but I can up all the time. So, just like that.
Were you first supervisor? Okay.
First of all,
Yeah. Then, yeah, what time you start work? Well, you recalled me out. Get him up there with the fire department and,
yeah, we'll just keep it on for a little bit. Right here. Yeah, he was struck by.
I got dragged by a car.
I mean,
Man, that's stuck inside the steering wheel or somewhere inside
okay,
there.
I mean,
I think I'm okay.
okay?
My left arm hurts, kind of tingling on the bottom side here, just where I got.
Cool.
Yeah, my body was just cold on
Do you have any problems?
stuck inside.
related to the.
Can you grip? I mean, can you
Yeah,
squeeze your hand
I can grip. It's
and all that?
just tingly from here down.
Okay. All right. I'll be right back.
You could be his control officer.
Got it.
You ever done that before?
Yeah. We're going to hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, God, let's get checked out.
Yeah.
Well, let me get that first.
Okay.
We don't do the ambulance form. I'll just take it down. You got stuff on charge or stuff on it?
I got stuff on the my group back here.
You can talk about anything you want except for what happened. The only thing I ask of you is, where did it start?
I initiated the traffic stop at Vine and Phil.
Okay, Vine and Phil?
South on Vine, we turned left on Phil. That's where I lit him up at.
Okay, where did he stop?
He did not take off, he was slow to stop. He pulled right up here, about halfway down this hill right here.
Okay, so for my purposes, for the investigation part of it, I need to know where it started, which is going to be right at this down there on this side of the tape. Is that correct?
Yes, just south of the intersection of Phil and right.
And it looks like you got dragged, if I'm looking.
Yeah.
Okay. And it ended up here?
I'm
So
sorry.
this is our crime scene? It's right here?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, that being said,
Dave, maybe do anything?
Okay, so you have the unit.
Can you-
14 have the unit.
can you oversee this end of the crime scene for me?
Is that my car right here? Yeah.
That's your car, and that's what I was saying before, in the middle of the road there, that black one, that's where Lyndon Schmidt said you were, so that's your car. I don't need yours left.
Okay.
If you can, watch this end of the crime scene.
Okay. Keep everybody out.
Steve, can you take over that end of the crime scene, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Leave you in that down.
And,
That's fine. That's cool.
just,
Yeah, I can go outside.
all right, take over this end of the crime scene. Make sure you get somebody down here doing a crime scene law. And, well, you do this one, and we'll have somebody else getting that in. Okay?
All right, we'll talk.
Yep, all right.
You are? Okay.
Your suspect car is on top of it, and that's your classified, right?
Yes. Yes.
This is your car?
Yes.
Yeah, they got both. Did you want to grab your stuff then?
I hope he did not lock that. I always took the keys out.
You need to call your girlfriend, wife, something like that, even this morning.
Okay. Let me get my keys from here real quick. He locked my cruiser.
Just seem like I'm pulling you around. Because I have to.
Oh, that's fine. I understand. You can just come down here. That's fine. 36. Me and Master Maxwell just on my cruiser.
What's your bag?
282. Can you come down here to my cruiser? Do you have the keys to my cruiser? That's fine.
Still numb?
Tingly from here on down. And
I'd
just hurt.
you're gonna end up, just go up to UC and have them check you out, that's all.
Okay.
I mean, your shoulder's okay, nothing else.
Yeah, I hit the side of my knee too as I fell on the ground.
Your arm is in the car?
Yeah, I got locked in the car somehow.
Okay. Yeah, just check them out, make sure you know.
Okay.
Will that keep recording? Will it record over itself?
No, it will go for as long as I hit that button.
Okay,
on
so
here.
it doesn't like move, but it's delete.
No, it'll go for 10 hours straight if I want to. Thanks, sir.
What do you want to do? Like, so you,
I'm just going to go to the hospital with him just get checked out.
okay, I'm told to go to the post office. But I'm asking about your cruiser. Are you,
If we have to leave it there, if you want to grab a cell phone, that's fine. But
your key should stay here.
Yeah, I need to get in my car. It's locked.
Oh, you're locked up, okay.
No, we can't move it. He's gonna grab it.
You moved this, correct? Or did someone else move my car?
I know, no, it was like that when I got here.
Okay, someone else moved my car there.
Sergeant Smith told me that's where you were.
Somebody moved it because I pulled it straight up behind him.
Okay, yeah, no.
See what?
Hey, gas, you know that, right? That's the cane right there.
I can see that.
Actually, ma'am, stand by on 40, we'll be back to you. I have reported an accident involving a couple of cars southbound 75 with a 10-5 traffic unit. NSF report that's gone through 3 hours.
You're good, Cliff. My car's secured.
You're going over there right now?
Yeah, I'm going to go with him.
Okay, you're going to hold for a minute, I'm going to go on
Okay. Alright, thanks.
I'll still be handling the radio.
I got one of the other officers. With you? Yeah, Shank's got the other one. Going on, yeah. I'll get him treated, make sure he's all right. His back looks pretty bad. Right, pretty good. Okay. I'll take the time.
Lieutenant, that's a true and accurate copy of the defendant's body-worn camera video from July 19, 2015?
It is.
Okay. And throughout the video, we could hear a beeping sound. What was that?
Every 2 minutes, you can have your camera set up to where it gives you an audio beep. And it's a reminder that your camera's still recording.
Okay. And I think earlier we talked about the policy to turn on your camera. What's the policy to turn off your camera?
Usually at the end of an event.
I'm sorry?
At the end of an event,
Okay.
like a traffic stop.
Okay. And how do you determine the end? Just if the traffic stop's over, then you leave? Then you would turn it off when you're leaving the
Well,
traffic stop?
in this incident, once he got to the hospital, it's mandatory that you turn it off so you're not violating any HIPAA laws.
And I had you earlier state exhibit number 15. Did you say that you are familiar with that exhibit?
You're talking about the NBC picture?
Yes.
I am.
All right, Your Honor, I'd like to enter exhibit number 15 into evidence and post it to the jury. Okay. All right. Lieutenant, do you mind, can you step over here? And I know that you probably don't have to deal with this quite as much in your position, but if you could just walk us through and tell us what some of the information that you're able to see on this. And if you come over here, if you come over by the screen and you can use my pen if you like, and you can point to the items that everybody will be able to see. So if you could just walk us through some of the information that is shown on this screen.
The GLN, that's the license plate number that it ran. This is the information that will come back to the vehicle.
Okay. Lieutenant, can you just keep your voice a little bit? I'm not sure if everyone can hear me or not. Yes, please.
This is the plate that he ran for that vehicle. This is the information that came back to the owner of the vehicle. This would be the driver's license number of the person that owns the vehicle, social security number, date of birth, and then descriptors.
And then what? I'm sorry.
Descriptors like age, height, weight.
Okay. And then on top of that, what is on the red? What comes up there in this scenario, obviously?
This is the history. They have any history.
Okay.
This means him. So this indicates the operator or the owner of the vehicle is suspended.
Okay, suspended. And if the owner of the vehicle was not suspended, what would it say there?
Valid.
Valid, okay. All right. Thank you. You can take your seat, sir. Have a moment, Your Honor. Mr. Everything you testified to, that occurred in Hamilton County, state of Ohio?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Mr. Matthews, cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Lieutenant, on July 19, 2015, you indicated you were a sergeant,
I was a sergeant at that time, correct?
and you were in charge of the body-worn camera program for the University of Cincinnati.
That's correct.
Is it correct that the UC Police Department was one of the first departments in the county to start wearing body-worn cameras?
We were.
And did you maintain your any road patrol duties or any other duties besides the camera program in July of 2015?
I did.
What were your duties?
Managing the officers that were under my command.
Which involved what?
Supervisor, overseeing, interacting with them.
These
following
officers
them.
are officers who are out on the street.
That's correct.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what the policy was as far as the University of Cincinnati patrolling off of campus on July 19, 2015?
At the time, Chief Goodrich, who was our chief at the time, indicated that he wanted us to step up our patrols in the area, on campus and around campus, which included traffic stops.
When did Chief Goodrich come to the UC? You know?
I can't recall.
Did he change the policy with reference to off-campus patrols?
He wanted to step it up. We've always had a mutual aid agreement with the city. We could make traffic stops in the city.
What do you mean he wanted to step it up?
He wanted to make sure the criminal element realized that we were out there actively patrolling, so they would stay out of the area.
And was that something different than what had been done before he came on board?
Like I said, we were able to perform those functions before Chief Goodrich. We just stepped it up.
Okay. And I assume the chief passed the orders down to the supervisory staff, such as yourself,
He did.
and you passed it down to the officers on the street.
I did.
Did you have any supervisory role over Ray Tenzing?
I did not. He was on second shift. I was on third shift.
Okay. With reference to these body-worn cameras, you explained a little bit to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how they work. I want to clarify a couple of things with you. It's my understanding that, as we just saw on the body-worn camera from Ray Tenzing's July 19th encounter with Sam Bose, the first portion of that, and I believe it's about 30 seconds, there is no sound.
That's correct.
And is that because, if I understand it correctly, that camera is constantly recording? And as soon as you turn it on, it starts to record?
At roll call, when they they activate their camera, it's recording.
Okay, and everything that it records is recorded over after a certain amount of time unless the officer double taps it?
Once they activate it, that's correct, but it's a 30-second loop. If it recorded the whole time, you would almost have to carry a backpack for the storage.
Okay, so when an officer double taps it, that's how he turns it on?
That's correct.
And that goes back and saves the 30 seconds prior to the officer double tap?
That's correct.
Everything before that is gone?
That's correct.
Forever?
That's correct.
Okay. So the officer determines when he turns that camera on? Correct?
That's correct.
He also retains the ability to turn it off whenever he wants to, correct?
That's correct.
So he controls what gets recorded and what doesn't get recorded.
Absolutely.
And if he planned to go out and murder somebody, for instance, it's not likely that he would turn it on, correct?
That's correct.
Have you ever had any, did you control the officers as far as whether they followed policy with reference to the body-worn cameras?
There's 2 or 3 supervisors per shift. Each shift supervisor is responsible for reviewing body camera footage.
And it's my understanding that the policy at the time, and probably still is, that when an officer encounters any individual, whether on a sidewalk or in a car or makes a traffic stop, they're supposed to activate that camera?
That's correct.
Did you ever have any trouble with Ray Tenzing following that policy?
Never.
Okay. Again, just to be clear, if Ray hadn't wanted to record his interaction with Sam LeBose, he could have merely not turned the camera on or turned it off anytime.
That's correct.
Also, I noticed in the first 30 seconds there is no sound on the tape. Why is that?
That's the way the cameras are designed.
And is it correct that as soon as the officer double taps it, it begins to record the sound?
That's correct.
But going back and picking up the 30 seconds prior. Weren't recorded, correct?
And if you watch the video, you can actually see as he's driving down Vine Street, he'd reach up and activate his camera.
Actually, he activated it before that, did he not?
Well, it was recording the 30 seconds.
Okay. That's okay.
So what you're seeing is you're seeing the 30 seconds before he activated the camera.
And that's when we saw the computer screen.
That's correct.
Correct?
That's correct.
Do you know anything about the audio recording ability of this cameras?
It would be a little bit more specific.
Okay. Well, I noticed on there, for instance, when Ray was talking to Sam LeBose, or talking to other officers after the event, you could hear his voice pretty clearly. other people was more difficult to hear?
These cameras are set, most devices are set to try to drown out ambient noise,
What is ambient noise?
background noise.
Such as other voices?
Could be other voices, sounds outside the actual immediate area of the camera.
And just because that camera doesn't pick up a sound, that doesn't mean that the sound didn't occur. Would that be a fair statement on my part?
That's correct.
I think you've already told us that you looked at State's Exhibit number 15, which was the screenshot from Ray Tenzing's body-worn camera video of Deshaunda Reed's driver's license information.
I can't swear to what showed up on his screen or on the video camera, but that's what they showed me right here.
Okay. If I told you that's what showed up on his camera or in his cruiser, does that appear to be something that is accurate?
Yes.
And you've had experience punching in a license plate number on the computer, correct?
I have.
And how long does it take to get a response?
It's usually pretty quick.
Did you see have a policy with reference to what kind of traffic violations warranted a stop by an officer on July 19, 2015?
Are you asking if we were limited to the type of stops we were able to make?
Well, more than that, were you told to make what kind of stops?
We were just told to step up our enforcement.
Okay, and is it correct that your policy and procedure says that you shall stop for any violation that you see?
Do you have officer discretion?
Yes.
Yes, but I mean, the mandate that came out was to step up enforcement.
Okay.
So if you saw a violation, you're supposed to take action.
And if somebody is driving under suspension, for instance, is that a serious traffic violation?
To me personally, I'm going to say yes.
Would you personally make a stop if you ran a license plate and came back that the driver was suspended or the owner was
I
suspended?
would at that time.
What do you mean at that time?
We're not allowed to do the traffic enforcement now, so
Since this incident, you don't do any traffic enforcement?
it has to be something that's going to cause immediate danger. A DUI, a car going the wrong way on a one-way street.
When the chief told you to step up these traffic stops, was there any direction given about who you should stop?
No, it was just a step up to enforcement.
What kind of weapon do you carry that you see?
A SIG.
That's a SIG model 3P320?
Yes,
Is that a semi-automatic handgun?
it is.
Have you ever fired one?
At the range, qualifying every year.
Have you ever experienced recoil?
Minimum.
Have you ever experienced recoil that knocked you back or moved you from where you fired again?
Negative.
Okay. When you were at the range, you shoot at targets.
We do, silhouettes.
What are the instructions as far as how you're supposed to shoot?
Center mass, it's usually center mass or headshots.
And are you taught that you are to shoot to kill?
Stop the threat.
Stop the threat?
Stop the threat.
What was the purpose of stepping up the traffic stops?
Because the crime was rising in that area.
Did the
Parents were concerned, the administration was concerned.
Did the stepping up of the traffic stops have any effect?
It did.
What kind of effect?
It was keeping people out of the area that shouldn't be in that area.
Has that changed since you quit making traffic stop?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
I'll withdraw it, Judge. I have
Thank
nothing
you.
further.
It was sustained. Okay, anything on redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, Lieutenant Marsh, you may step in. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
I'm going to give them a real quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take about a 10-minute, 12-minute break here. We'll line you up at 5 till 12. We're going to plan on going till 1:30, depending where we are. So at this time, I'll allow Dave to take you back, and you can go to the restroom and get a sip or a drink or something, and we'll see you in a few minutes. And remember, no discussion, okay?
All rise.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a recess until 5 minutes till 12. All right, there you go.
Your second biggest case. That's a joke. It's just, you can't just say.
Oh, I was like,
Sorry.
No, I was thinking it was another one like that civil hearing we've been hearing. That's right. Yes, please. Maybe someone was waving for you or somebody. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure that thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm always down here when they're coming and going.
I have it everywhere, as you can see.
All rise.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. You're back on the record in jury in progress, State of Ohio versus Raymond Tensing. Case number B1503961. When we left off, the prosecution was calling witnesses. The next witness, please, Mr. Greckner or Mr. Teeter.
Police Officer Kidd.
Second. you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give before this court and jury to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you? I know that service right there. Make sure you speak directly into the microphone.
Good afternoon.
Sir,
Could you please tell everybody your name and spell your last name?
Philip Kidd, last name's Kidd.
And what's your occupation?
I'm a police officer with the University of Cincinnati Police Department.
How long have you been a UC police officer?
A little over 11 years now.
What year would you have started?
2006.
And as far as your training officer, Kid, have you heard of something called OPATA? Somebody mentioned that earlier this morning.
Yes.
What is OPATA?
It's the Ohio Police Officer Training Academy.
And did you attend that, or are you certified through OPATA?
I am.
And tell us how you did that.
It's a 6-month police academy. You take a test through OPATA at OPATA's facility in London.
And is that basically what you do for 6 months then? You are training to be a police officer. It's like a full-time job almost, your 6-month training.
Mine was part-time in the evenings, but yes, it's to become a police officer.
Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to July 19th of 2015. Were you on duty that day?
I was.
Do you recall what your hours were?
I believe 1500 to 0100.
And what is 1500 in civilian time?
3 p.m. to 1 a.m.
And were you on routine patrol?
We were.
What is routine patrol, Officer Kidd?
Pretty much any patrol you're doing when you're not on a run.
And were you in uniform in a marked police car?
We were.
Were you riding alone or with a partner?
I was with Officer Lyndon Schmidt.
And are you what's called an FTO?
I was at the time, yes.
What is an FTO?
I'm a field training officer.
And can you describe what that means in relation to Officer Lyndon Schmidt?
Basically, for 3 months is our training period. You're with a different FTO each month when you first get hired. My job is to tech him how to write tickets, make arrests, drive the squad car, just normal police business. Make sure that he knows UC's policies and procedures.
So on July 19th of 2015, he was in his 1 month stint with you?
Yes.
So he would have been a police officer for less than 3 months at that point?
Yes.
Do you recall who was driving and who was the passenger?
Officer Lyndon Schmidt was driving. I was the passenger.
And did you recall what kind of vehicle you had, Officer Kidd?
We were in a Tahoe.
What type of car is that?
It's a SUV.
And do you know Ray Tensing?
I do.
Do you see him here today in court?
I do.
Where is he?
He's seated there behind the defense tag.
With the record show identification of the defendant?
Stipulated.
How do you know Ray Tensing?
He's a police officer at the university.
And was he one of your fellow officers on July 19th of 2015?
He was.
Was he working on that day?
Yes.
And was he working at or about the same time as you at the late afternoon, early evening of that day?
Yes, he was.
Did you know if he was in uniform in a marked police car?
He was.
Do you know if he was riding solo or with a partner?
He was by himself.
If you could describe to the jury, Officer Kidd, and Officer Tensing at the time were in another car, how would you communicate with another officer at that time?
We have our own dispatch. Typically, we don't talk officer to officer. We go through our dispatch center. So everything we say is to our dispatchers, but we can hear everything that the other officers are saying.
So do you have equipment that you would communicate with the dispatcher?
Yes, our radios.
Where are those held?
On our belt.
Okay. Are they shoulder type things?
We have a shoulder mic. The belt, or the radio itself is actually attached to your belt.
So what type of things would you say to the dispatcher and then would the dispatcher repeat that, or would the actual other person hear your words as you say them?
You'll hear as they say them. Dispatch will typically repeat them as well, depending on what the situation is, but you hear them as they say it.
And as far as, there's been some testimony earlier today, and I know there's a separation of witnesses where you're not allowed in the room at the time other people testify, but there was some talk about stopping people off campus.
Yes.
And at or around that time, what was your understanding about stopping people and or vehicles off campus?
We were directed to do so.
Is that called a memorandum of understanding?
Yes.
Now, at around 6:30 on the early evening of July 19, 2015, Were you aware that Ray Tensing made a dispatch?
Yes.
And could you describe to the court how you knew that and the jury?
We heard on the radio that he was trying to initiate a traffic stop.
Did you recall where that traffic stop would have initiated?
On Vine Street is what I recall.
And would that be on campus or off campus?
That's off campus.
Do you recall where you and Officer Lyndon Schmidt were at the time?
We were finishing up a traffic stop, I believe, on Calhoun Street.
And would you say that's fairly close, Officer Kidd?
Yes.
What type of area is that? It would be south of McMillan on Vine Street.
You've got the Mad Frog, part of its business, and then as you get further south, it's going to be a park and then residential.
Okay. And you went up to, when you heard Ray Tensing say that he was going to stop somebody on Vine Street, what did you do?
We let the dispatch know that we were going to go back him up.
And why did you tell dispatch that you were going to back him up?
The area that he was doing the traffic stop in, and then his statement on the radio that the individual was slow to stop.
What about the area caused you to be concerned, Officer Kidd?
We had gotten an email a couple months prior about a shooting of a, I believe it was a Cadillac with a AR-15 in the area. So Inwood Park, which is right around where this occurred, is at least at the time was a spot for shootings.
Okay. So because of the nature of the area, and then you said you heard Officer Tensing at the time say the vehicle was slow to stop, you said that you were going to back him up?
Yes.
Did you put that out over the dispatch as well?
We did.
Would that have been something that Ray Tensing would have heard you say?
Which I object.
Objections up here, please.
Judge, I'll withdraw the objection to say if he knows.
Okay, if you know, sir. Okay.
It's possible.
Would it be fair to say, Officer Kidd, that you heard Officer Tensing say that he was stopping a vehicle south on Vine, the vehicle was slow to stop, you had no trouble hearing that?
Yes.
And that you used the same channel and equipment that he used, and if he were listening, then he would have been able to hear it?
Yes.
Fair to say?
Yes.
So, to the best of your knowledge, he knew that you were backing him up and that you were somewhere close by?
Again, I will object, Judge. How does he know what Ray Tensing knew?
I'm just saying if he knows, Judge.
Okay, always say if he knows, so we can make it clear to the jury, okay? All right, go
I'm
ahead.
not sure what he heard.
Okay, but would you say that you said it in a clear voice? You didn't mumble your words, you didn't slur your speech, you said it so that the dispatcher and Officer Tensing would have heard what you said. Is that why you said it?
I should have been able to be heard, yes.
So that you said it so that he knew that you were right behind him. Fair to say? Is that why you said it?
May I ask who's testifying here, Judge?
Yes, this is good, you're leading the witness. You have to rephrase, Mr. Teeger.
Just tell us, Officer Kidd, the reason that you said that over the air that you were backing him up.
Let officers know that we were responding to back up Officer Tensing.
Okay, including Officer Tensing.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us what you did then, Officer Kidd.
Officer Lyndon Schmidt drove down Vine Street. We turned left onto Phil. Didn't see Officer Tensing at that time. Phil turns onto Rice Street, kind of dead ends and curves around. That's where we found Officer Tensing's vehicle.
And what did you and Lyndon Schmidt do at that point?
Officer Lyndon Schmidt was parking the car. Saw a bottle on the roof of the vehicle. Looked like an alcohol bottle you get from a corner store. So I thought maybe it was an OBI situation. Thought Officer Tensing would probably want to get him out of the car, so I started exiting the vehicle to start up to provide backup for Officer Tensing.
That area right there on Rice Street, Phil, Rice, all that area, is that in the city of Cincinnati, Hamilton County, Ohio?
It is.
Could you tell the jury, in your own words, Officer Kidd, what part of Officer Tensing's body that you could see?
Probably from the stomach, waist area up.
And as far as how the vehicles then were lined up at or near the corner of Phil and Rice, if you could relate that to the jury as well.
Officer Tensing's vehicle was positioned here. Sam DeVos' vehicle was in front of it. Our vehicle, I believe, was kind of off-centered a little bit as you're coming around the bend. So I wouldn't say a clear sight, but I could see the vehicle and I could see part of Officer Tensing.
But you had no trouble seeing the Tensing police car, fair to say?
Yes.
And you could see the upper portion of Officer Tensing's body?
Yes.
Clear and unobstructed view, would you say, Officer Kidd?
Yes.
Where was Officer Tensing standing in relation to the DuBose, what you know now as the DuBose vehicle?
He was standing next to the driver's side door.
Could you describe to the jury, Officer Kidd, what the B pillar is? B is in boy.
The B pillar is the post right behind the driver.
For instance, if it's a four-door car, it would be the area. There's two different windows, the driver's window and the behind the driver's window would be that area that separates those two windows.
Yes.
And why is that important in the traffic stop, Officer Kidd?
That's the area that generally officers are going to stand when they perform a traffic stop.
And where was Ray Tensing in relation to that B pillar?
It was a little in front of the B pillar.
And you said when you pulled up to the scene, you were telling the jury that you saw some type of bottle?
Yes.
Tell us what you saw happen with the bottle, and somebody have the bottle?
It was on the roof. Officer Tensing's hand, I think, was near, and I don't know if it was in his hand or just sitting on the roof of the car.
Okay. And what did it look like Officer Tensing was doing at that point, Officer Kidd?
When we first pulled up, talking to him, and then pretty quickly he was going for the door handle. We hadn't been there too long when he started to open the door.
And what did it look like Ray Tensing was doing to you, Officer Kidd?
Going to have Mr. DuBose exit the vehicle or handcuff him or whatever. He was going to try to have some physical interaction with him, I believe.
To get him out of the car?
Yes.
What did you do at that point then, Officer Kidd?
Again, when I first pulled up, I was getting out of the car, so I was trying to hurry up to the vehicle. I wasn't running, but I was doing a brisk walk.
And certainly Officer Tensing's vehicle and what you now know as Mr. DuBose's vehicle was in plain view to you?
Yes.
Do you believe that your vehicle then would have been in plain view to Officer Tensing?
It was behind his vehicle. I don't know how much of our vehicle he would have seen, but it's possible he could have seen at least part of it.
You saw him?
I saw him.
Okay. So like if I'm looking at you now, I'm assuming that you can see me, fair to say?
Correct.
Nobody was hiding?
No.
What did you see next then, Officer Kidd?
Again, it looked like he was trying to open the door.
He meaning who?
Sorry, Officer Tensing was trying to open the door. It didn't open. Officer Tensing quickly reached into the car. Not long after that, I heard squealing tires. I saw the vehicle start to move away from the curb. I heard a gunshot. The vehicle continued away from the curb and south on south on Rice Street. And then Officer Tensing fell away from the car.
When you saw Ray Tensing, did you say you saw him put his hands into the car?
Yes.
And how would you describe that motion, Officer Kidd?
It was a real quick, reached in, lunged into the car. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to describe. He's just, trying to pull the door open and then he's reaching into the car.
You said he lunged into the car. Well, what does that mean, that Officer Tensing lunged into the car?
It's a quick reaching motion.
Was it you say quick? And how many hands, if you recall, did Ray Tensing use to lunge into the DuBose car?
I'm not sure.
I know you gave a couple statements to law enforcement, is that fair to say?
Yes.
One on July 21st, a couple days later?
Yes.
And then, maybe I misspoke, the first one, I guess the only time law enforcement was July 21st, then you testified at the last trial also.
And
so there's a couple statements of yours, and it was okay.
Yes.
And I don't know if this would refresh your recollection. Officer Kidd, when you were asked, do you recall what hand, or if it was both hands that he lunged into the vehicle with, and your answer was, I think he dropped the bottle and was going in with both.
Okay.
Fair to say?
Okay. Yeah.
So, back then on July 21st, do you recall telling the homicide detectives that Ray Tensing lunged into the car with both hands?
Yes.
Okay. Could you be wrong about that, Officer Kidd?
I don't recall at this point how many hands he reached in the car with.
But back then on July 21st, you thought it was both hands.
Yes.
Fair to say?
Yeah.
And then you say the car was, you heard a shot.
Yes.
Do you know who fired the shot?
At the time, I did not.
Did you ever see a gun or a weapon in Ray Tensing's hand at the time the shot was fired?
No.
Did you ever see him pull the weapon out of its holster?
I did not.
As far as your training, Officer Kidd, is there a rule as far as reaching in a car?
As an FTO, I typically train not to. I wouldn't say there's a rule for it, but it's...
Are you instructed in OPADA not to reach into a car?
I can't remember what OPADA teaches.
Are you trained not to open car doors?
No.
Do you open car doors?
No.
Do you reach into cars?
I have.
And tell us why you've reached into a car.
Handing tickets to somebody, grabbing IDs.
If somebody hands you something, fair to say?
Yes.
Have you ever reached into a vehicle to try to knock or take somebody's keys out?
No.
And you've been an officer how long?
11 years.
You've never done that?
No.
What happened next then at the scene, Officer Kidd?
Again, the vehicle continued south on Rice. Officer Tensing fell away from the vehicle. The vehicle hit the guardrail on the left side of the road, kind of bounced back into the street, continued further on down Rice, came to a stop at the corner of Rice and Valencia, kind of up on the curb.
And what did you do and what did you see Ray Tensing do then, Officer Kidd?
At that point, Ray was standing, or was getting back to his feet. I saw the gun in his hand at that point. I got on the radio and said that there had been shots fired. I yelled at Ray and asked him if Mr. DuBose had a gun. He never answered me, but as we were running down the street, he got on the radio and said that he had fired. He, as an Officer Tensing, had fired the shot, and I believe he said he had struck him in the head.
Would you say Officer Tensing got up from the ground slowly or quickly, Officer Kidd?
Quickly.
And then at that point, is that the first time you saw Officer Tensing with a gun in his hand?
Yes.
And at that point, you didn't know if he had just pulled it when he was on the ground?
Correct.
Or how long he had it out, fair to say?
Yes.
And you were looking right at the situation, but you didn't see the shot happen?
I did not.
So you say the car went up the street, the Honda, what you know now is the DuBose car?
Yes.
What happened at that point? Did you run up then to that vehicle?
Yes.
And tell the jury in your own words what you saw or what you heard at that point, Officer Kidd.
As I approached the vehicle, I saw Mr. DuBose slumped over towards the passenger side of the vehicle. He had blood around his head on the left side.
And somebody called for a medic?
I did.
Was there a loud noise coming from the car then, Officer Kidd?
The engine was still revving.
And tell us how that got changed.
Officer Tensing went around the front of the vehicle to the driver's side, and he reached in and turned the car off.
And what did you do as Officer Tensing did that?
Just provided cover for him.
What does that mean, Officer Kidd, that you say you provided cover for him?
Basically, I aimed my weapon at the vehicle until he stepped away from it. At the vehicle, I wasn't necessarily pointing it at DuBose. It was placed at the vehicle. When Tensing came around, Sam DuBose was between me and Officer Tensing, so pointing my gun at Officer DuBose at that point puts him in a line of fire, so I wouldn't have been pointing it at DuBose at that time.
Gotcha. But you were ready to use your weapon to protect Ray Tensing in case Samuel DuBose was still a threat. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So at that point, you didn't know, you saw the blood,
Yes.
but you thought he still may be a threat to Officer Tensing.
Potentially, yes.
Now, we saw a body-worn camera played earlier this morning, the defendant's body-worn camera. Were you wearing that same type of camera as well?
I was.
Could you tell the jury when we heard about double-clicking it?
Yes.
Could you tell the jury when you did that?
While I was standing in Sam DuBose's vehicle.
Would everything that you saw and testified to the jury be on your body-worn camera, Officer Kidd?
Most of it. Unfortunately, it only plays back 30 seconds, and the initial part of the stop is not on my camera.
The shooting isn't covered by your camera at all?
It's not.
And tell us why that is again?
Because I didn't activate the camera until I was up in Sam DuBose's vehicle, and I guess that didn't come into the 30 seconds.
Okay. Why did you, okay, Judge, I think that's Mark Stitt's exhibit number 14, Officer Kidd's body-worn camera. So at this time, I'd like to admit it and play it for the jury.
Okay.
No objection, Judge.
What are we looking at now, Officer Kidd?
My first approach to Sam DuBose's vehicle.
And is that the 30 seconds back where there's no sound?
Yes.
Okay.
You okay? Holy shit.
Medic this way, we got a gunshot wound to the head.
Rice and Valencia.
Alright, we got medical rolling, who's injured?
We're going to need an admin page. We're going to need a medic. We're going to need multiple officers here.
Is that your voice, the loud voice?
It is.
Stay back! Stay back! turn around. It's going to be a few minutes, eh? Okay, step out of the street.
Stay back. Please took off on me now.
I'm switching to 5.
Somebody's on the line.
Keep everybody back.
Hey, you want to go block off that way? Yeah. Do we have anyone down there?
No, you take that.
I think I got that. He's just dragging me.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
was going to get run over. I was trying to stop him.
Get him go around.
Tell him to get over here.
Was that Ray Tensing telling you that he got dragged?
Yes.
And then what did you say?
I said, yes, I saw that.
Okay.
Huh?
I'll be right here.
You're not going to be able to go past the car, but go. Watch the houses.
Did we put you forward, Bosman?
No, we switched to 5. This is 4?
We're at 4. We're east of Vine Street, yeah.
(9232) on channel 4.
9220 or 35.
Was this you?
Huh?
Was this you?
No, it was,
Did you?
no, he did.
Stay back. Stay back.
Stay up there with your car, keep everybody past the scene. Watch the windows.
Go back inside, man. Go back inside. Go back inside.
Oh, he's dragging me, man.
Yeah, you good?
I'm good. I just got my hand and my arm caught.
Yeah, I saw that.
Line and Valencia there with the victim.
What was he reaching for?
He kept reaching around. I told him to step out of the car. I couldn't produce a license. So that's when I put in drive, started taking off. I reached down and shot one round down. He took off on me.
He's 2-7. He's done. He's done? Yes.
I ran him.
Yeah, don't say anything.
When you were saying don't say anything, what did that mean? Was that you saying that?
Yes.
Who are you talking to?
Officer Tensing.
Okay, why did you say that, Officer Kidd?
I don't know.
Units use your MPCs when going on scene and help with additional traffic. It's 22-4. 9220, go ahead.
Okay, you're out.
District 4 boss down there. 4220, copy. Copy. Unit, continue for now. Unit, continue. 25. Get somebody to walk off. Down right. Down around cage. Walk that off. Walk up. Right. Copy. Walk right. Gate and fill and right. 40-11. Take right and gate. Copy. 25, take right. Go ahead. Ohio, George, Lincoln, Nora, 6917. I'll definitely see you. Green color. Registration breakdown, suspended, late valid, no marijuana.
Sorry?
Anybody else down here?
Down here with who?
Yeah, he's down there by himself?
Yeah, he's down there by himself right now.
You missed that down there with?
4214.
He's with an eye shot. We should be alright.
Yellow crime scene tape from Department 44. Copy. Fuck. 42-45. Have 5. Copy.
Yeah, go down with him if you would, see if he's got crime scene tape and tape off the street right there. That's my fault, I just asked her to go get crime scene tape and help him.
I want her camera, mine went 2.7.
Oh.
If I'm gonna be sticking with Ray, I want video.
I want your camera. Do you want me to stay with Ray since I was here?
Alright.
Lyndon Schmidt and I saw it, so.
Yeah, who did
Me and Lyndon Schmidt.
Did you see him being dragged?
Yes.
Everybody alright?
I'm getting my left arm hurt a little bit.
Okay. We got fired. Okay, yeah. Who all was up here when they witnessed it?
I saw it.
Okay, so,
And I think my trainee saw it as well.
yeah, get him in a car, get him pulled off.
Yes. My trainee saw it as well. Who's this? This gentleman here, Lyndon Schmidt.
Okay.
Hey, Frank! I'm gonna need you to take. We're about to get separated, bro.
4220, do you need any other units directly at your location? If not, I'll send them to the area.
Everybody okay? Yeah, I'm gonna turn my camera on.
Keep it on for now.
Keep it on right now.
I just out individual. Secured. I'm also going to need a traffic stop coming off. One, two. Down the bottom. Traffic stop.
That was from the vehicle. From the vehicle? Yes.
Flashlights are all pretty I'm assuming that's around here. Everything.
I'm just letting you know these are involved. Sorry? He's the tall one and the gray shirt.
Okay, UPS officers come with team 4220 copies.
This was in ours, I'm gonna just throw them back first. Corey, I need you to take this officer, okay, and put him in your car and make him as comfortable. Shank, I'm gonna put him with Shank. Hey, this, here, you take one of these officers, I'm gonna take one of the others. Okay. The witnesses to this. Okay. And, the injured officer is being tended to, he's with Nate and everything. Okay. You take this gentleman here, SAD, sir.
Copy injury to the UP unit. Can you advise you're taken with shots fired at police?
You need a little something to drink, right?
Sounds good.
Sure? Yeah.
Just make sure my partner's okay. I'm good. Kid. 428. Yeah, 5 Union, 428 if you want to put that on there, but 428 is the badge.
I mean, all units are, that's
54.
pretty much the unabridged, unedited version of the body-worn camera?
Yes.
100% in its entirety, nothing more than what we saw here today?
Correct.
Have you ever heard of cruiser cam?
Yes.
Did your car, Ray Tensing's car, have cruiser cam at all?
The Tahoes have one, but it's old and it doesn't work.
Okay, so there's no so-called, in addition to the body-worn cameras, there's no other video of this incident in any way, shape, or form, other than Officer Lyndon Schmidt, I think, has a body-worn camera as well.
Correct.
Now, I know in the video, you said, I think Officer Tensing had said, I was being dragged, and you said, yes, I saw that.
Yes.
Did you see him being dragged?
No.
Can you let the jury know why you said you saw that if you didn't see him being dragged?
I saw Officer Tensing moving with the vehicle, and when he said he was dragged, it's certainly a possibility, so I wasn't going to sit there and argue with him.
Okay. But you confirmed that you saw him being dragged, but today you're telling the jury you never saw him dragged.
Correct.
Can we look at State's Exhibit 1D, Officer Kidd?
Yes.
Could you tell us what that is?
A drawing I made for CIS.
Okay, is this a drawing that's kind of a crude drawing of the situation as it happened that day?
Let's put it nicely.
Okay. Judge, could I admit and display 1D?
Mr. Matthews, any objection?
No, Judge.
Thank you.
And Judge, if it's okay if Officer Kidd could get up and maybe explain to the jury using the diagram what we're looking at.
Sure, go ahead. Just speak
You can
loudly
just step
enough.
up over here.
But speak loudly enough so the jury can hear you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This here would be Officer Lyndon Schmidt, my patrol vehicle, Officer Tensing's patrol vehicle, Sam DeBoe's car. This is about where I was when the incident started, when I saw him start pulling on the door. Probably about where I was, I believe, when I heard the gunshot. This here was Officer Tensing, obviously when he was performing the traffic stop, and then roughly where he would have ended up when he was standing up.
Thank you, Officer Kidd. You can return to the list. And I think on that video you were pointing out some things to, was it a Cincinnati officer?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what you were pointing out?
The bottle and I believe a flashlight.
You were saying that's involved, just to let them know that was part of the situation?
Correct.
But what about Officer Tensing's car? What happened to that?
I believe it got moved.
Okay, because I know in the video that we've seen, that we just saw of you, the Tensing vehicle isn't where it would have been in your diagram.
Correct.
Do you know who may have moved that?
I believe Officer Lyndon Schmidt did.
Was that under your direction and control? Did you tell him to do that?
I told him to block off the street. That was my direction.
Okay. And looking back, you wish you probably wouldn't have moved the Tensing vehicle, fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. If as a UC police officer, if there's a traffic stop and the driver disobeys and tries to leave the scene, would you say that you're justified in shooting and killing that person?
No.
What, and I know this sounds simplistic, but what is a holster?
It's the device on our belt that holds our firearm.
And is that attached to like a belt?
Yes.
What's that belt called?
Duty belt.
And are there a bunch of things on the duty belt?
Yes.
Is this your, what else is on the duty belt besides your holster?
You've got your mag pouch, asp carrier, your radio, handcuff case, glove pouch.
What's an asp pouch?
It's the extendable baton that we carry.
Okay. What's an extendable baton? Does it start out short and you can like whip it and then it extends to a bigger, longer length?
Yes.
Okay. You say you have handcuffs also?
Yes.
I'm going to show you case number 8, E is in Paul. Put that here. I think there's a maybe if I could show you this piece first. What is this piece?
It's a radio.
Okay. This is what you're talking about before is the part of the radio that's on your chest or shoulder area?
Correct.
And is the actual radio part stuck into your duty belt also?
Yes.
And if I were to tell you that this is Ray Tensing's duty belt from that day, would you have any reason to disagree?
No, sir.
Okay. And you were talking about the baton. That's this right here?
Yes.
Maybe if you could take us through the holster. Judge, if you, I don't know if you could do this, Officer Kidd. It might be easier for the jury to see if you stand up and show us how that works.
Yes,
Would that
do
be
you
okay,
mind?
Judge?
Okay.
No, that's fine. That's
You want me to walk over closer
That'd
to
be
that?
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Dual retention holster.
I'm sorry.
You gotta speak so we can.
Sorry.
Can you start over?
Yes.
And I think these people would need to see too over there.
Okay. It's a dual retention holster. It has a thumb right here. You have to push down and then push forward to release the hood. And then it has another lever right here that you have to push as you draw the weapon.
And why do law enforcement holsters? Because a lot of times you see a holster, you just pull it out and it just flies right out. Your holster isn't like that. Can you tell us why?
Because we run, we fight with people, you don't want your weapon to be able to just be pulled out. There has to be a couple of steps in between you and actually the weapon.
If you have your weapon in full like protection mode, how many steps then would you have to take it out or pull it out on somebody?
2.
And take us through those steps again, Officer Kidd.
You push down here, pull this lever, and pull and fire. Okay.
And not to give away any secrets or whatever, but that's something that you would think people that you're fighting with wouldn't know, and that's something that you would know because if somebody tries to grab your gun, most people think you can just pull it out and it's going to come out and it won't work that way.
Even if they know, you still have to be able to get your hand in there. It just makes it harder for them to draw the weapon.
On the second step, you mean?
Right.
So you call it a hood. What is the hood?
This part right here, it covers the weapon.
And then you have to press a button for that hood to go back down.
Yeah, there's this thumb piece right here, push that down.
Does that automatically go down then if you push the button, or do you have to manually do that?
No, then you have to push it forward.
Okay, so you have to push the button and it just doesn't, like let's say a car lock. You push the button and it goes up or down. With this, you push the button, you have to do something else.
Right, you can push down and it will still stay right there.
Okay. So you push the button and then you have to do something. Then what's I'll call that 2 steps then, okay? What would the third step be then?
Pull on this lever right here.
And how do you pull that lever?
So the same way you push this down, thumb.
And then you're As that's going down, that's when you're pulling your weapon out? Okay. Thank you, Officer. And tell us how you learned how to do that, Officer Kidd.
Training.
Okay. Would that be OPADA?
No, this holster was issued while we were with UC, so UC would have trained us on it.
Okay. Is that something that Ray Tensing then would have been instructed on how to do?
Yes.
Is that something that you practice as well?
They advise it.
Okay. In order to be faster, if you work at something, you might get better at it, just like in anything else that you do?
Correct. It builds muscle memory, so in stressful situations you can do it.
Do you practice how to do that?
I don't.
Okay. And do you know that some officers would practice that?
Yes.
Depending how into it you are?
I'm old.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 18, Officer Kidd. What does that look like to you?
It says firearms and deadly force policy.
What is State's Exhibit number 18? In relation to your training or your training as a UC officer?
This is the policy and procedure that covers firearms and use of deadly force.
Is that something that you would have been instructed in?
Yes.
Is that something that, to the best of your knowledge, Ray Tensing would have been instructed in?
Yes.
And State's Exhibit number 19, I think there's a second sheet on number 19. Judge, I would like to admit 18 as well.
No objection?
No objection.
Okay, thank you.
What is number 19, Officer Kidd?
University of Cincinnati Police Firearms Qualifications Record and General Safety Rules.
Okay. And is that in relation to a particular person?
Says Raymond Tensing.
And what's the second sheet on that?
Police Department Range Proficiency Record.
And what is that?
This would be what the instructors fill out when we qualify.
Okay. Judge, I'd like to admit 19 as well.
Okay, thank you.
On number 19, you're saying that the safety rules that has Mr. Tensing's name on it?
Yes.
And a signature at the bottom?
Yes.
You weren't a witness to that, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But it looks like Ray Tensing, 429 of 14.
It's hard to read the signature, but yeah, the date's definitely legible.
Sure. And then the range proficiency record, that relates again to Raymond Tensing?
Yes.
And what would that show again, Officer Kidd?
That's, I assume, what the firearms instructors would fill out after we qualify.
Okay. Thank you, Officer Kidd. No further questions, Judge.
Mr. Matthews Cross?
Thank you, Judge. Officer Kidd, how long did you say you've been a police officer with the University of Cincinnati?
A little over 11 years.
During the 11 years, have you always worked as a
patrol officer?
Yes.
And that involves working on the street, is that correct?
Yes.
You just kind of, in response to one of Mr. Teeger's questions, said I'm old. He was asking you about whether you practice with your firearm or with releasing the weapon from the holster.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
I mean, I don't do a lot of things I should do. Kind of, I've been doing it quite a while, and I'm pretty much set in my ways.
Do you make a lot of traffic stops?
I do. Well, did.
Who was your chief back in July of 2015?
Chief Goodrich.
How long had Chief Goodrich been there?
I don't remember, a year or two.
Did he institute any new policies for the University of Cincinnati Police Department with reference specifically to traffic stops?
And under his guidance, we were supposed to ramp up our traffic enforcement.
Ramp up meaning
Do more.
increase it? Do
Yes.
more? Did you have quotas?
No.
Were you ever told to go out and stop African Americans?
No.
Were you ever told to go out and stop white people?
No.
How about Asians?
No.
Martians?
No.
Nobody, you weren't directed to stop anybody in particular?
No.
Who were you supposed to stop?
Anything that had an infraction.
And is it correct that the UC policy with reference to traffic stops instructed officers that if they see a traffic violation, they shall make a stop?
I'd have to see the policy, but I imagine so.
When, how long have you had beats?
I've been there 11 years. We've had beats the whole time I've been there.
Explain to the jury what a beat is.
Beat is basically your territory is broken down into different areas. It's given a beat number. Second shift case, we have typically 4 is our minimum. We like to have at least 5. So depending on what beat number you're running, that tells you what area you're going to be running in that day.
And you have one officer assigned to each beat?
Yes.
Does that mean that officer is precluded from leaving his beat and going to another officer's beat?
No.
And do these beats cover just the University of Cincinnati campus?
They do not.
What do they cover?
Campus and surrounding areas.
The neighborhoods around the University of Cincinnati?
Yes.
And how long have those existed?
Years.
Is it correct that there is an agreement between the University of Cincinnati and the City of Cincinnati and the City of Cincinnati Police Department that allows UC officers to patrol off campus?
Yes.
Do you know why that agreement exists?
I don't.
Is there a problem with criminal activity around the campus of the University of Cincinnati?
There is crime around campus, yes.
Is that one of the reasons that UC officers patrol off campus?
I imagine, since it involves our students.
On July 19th, well, first of all, Mr. Teeger asked you, with reference to the incident on July 19th, whether Ray Tenzing heard things and saw things. Is it a fair statement on my part that you have no idea what Ray Tenzing did or did not hear?
Yes.
Is it a fair statement on my part that you have no idea what Ray Tenzing did or did not see?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, on July 19th, you were an FTO, field training officer, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had Joel Lindenschmidt as your OIC, or yes, your OIC, or OIT?
OIT, yes.
OIT is officer in training?
Correct.
And he was driving the cruiser, you were both riding?
Yes.
And you were assigned to a separate beat from Ray Tenzing?
That's correct.
This was a Sunday afternoon in July, and you went on duty at 3 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
Was it a hot day then?
I don't recall.
Okay. You were assigned to a beat, and I believe you testified that you were on Calhoun Street with a traffic stop at the time that you heard Ray Tenzing come on the radio, right?
I think we just finished one, yes.
Okay, and what did you hear specifically?
Originally, I heard that he was going to stop a vehicle, and then he said that the vehicle was going to be slow to stop.
And you heard that he was going to make that stop where?
Originally on Vine Street.
Near what?
I don't recall.
Would that have been in an area that was part of his beat, to your knowledge?
It's within our beat structure, yes.
Okay. Did you ever hear him say anything about Phil Street?
He said that after he was slow to stop, that he was turning on to Phil.
When you heard the term slow to stop, what did that mean to you?
As a police officer, typically when we want to do a traffic stop, we like to pick the location. When we turn the lights on, we expect somebody to get over the right-hand side of the road. When they don't do that, that starts giving us an indication that either they're going to try to run, or maybe there's alcohol involved, or maybe they're not paying attention. I mean, it starts to set off alarm bells.
And when you heard that from your brother officer, did it set off alarm bells for you?
It gave us a reason to go down and back them up, yes.
And when you heard Phil Street, did that add anything to the mission?
It did.
What did that add?
I think I explained earlier the shootings and stuff that had occurred around Inwood Park. Phil is just on the south side of Inwood.
You had been warned by supervisors that Phil Street was a bad neighborhood, is that correct?
We got information that there had been shootings down there.
Did you get information about a gang that was operating in that area?
I believe the one that involved the Cadillac was the Vine Street Phil gang or something to that effect.
So that caused you and Officer Lyndon Schmidt to decide to go back up Ray Tenson, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever hear Ray ask for backup?
No.
Did he ever acknowledge to you that he knew you were on the way?
No.
When you make a traffic stop, do you always get the driver out of the car?
No.
Do you ever get the driver out of the car?
Yes.
Why would you do that?
If you can't identify the subject, you pull them out of the car. If you have identified them and they have warrants, you'll pull them out of the car.
When you pull them out of the car, are they under arrest automatically?
Typically, it's a detention at that point.
Do you sometimes handcuff people when it's a detention?
Yes.
Why is that?
They're possibly a threat. Depends on what the warrants could be. You have to verify the warrants once when the MDC tells you there's warrants. Typically, again, we'll place them in handcuffs, detain them, call the accounting and verify that the warrants are good before we decide to act on them.
And is that for your own protection?
Yes.
Have you been taught, I guess, as a police officer, you've been taught how to handcuff people, correct?
Yes.
And what do they teach? Let me back up. I assume they teach a lot, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever been taught a technique called the handcuff in the car technique, for one of the better terms?
I have not.
Have you ever seen anybody use that technique?
I have.
What does that involve?
You open the car door, keep them seated inside the vehicle, have them turn around, place their hands behind their back while they're seated in the vehicle, handcuff them while they're in the car.
And why would you do that as opposed to have them get out first?
Because as an officer, you're at an advantage when somebody's seated. They're less likely to run, harder for them to fight. You just have more control over the subject that way.
And I believe you were asked at one point by Mr. Teeger whether you've ever reached into a car. You indicated that you had a couple times, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever had a situation where you had to reach in, where you reached in instinctively, or there was something rapidly occurring?
No.
Yours have all been routine, is that correct?
Yes.
Have you ever known an officer to instinctively reach into a car?
There's reports on Police One all the time about it.
About what?
Guys reaching into a car and getting dragged.
Sustain.
When you detain somebody, handcuff them in a traffic stop, do they always get arrested?
No.
Now let's go to July 19, 2015. You came on duty, you said at 3 o'clock p.m., correct?
Yes.
And you and Officer Lyndon Schmidt went about your business?
Yes.
Do you remember how many traffic stops you made before you went to Rice and Phil Street?
No idea.
Has that been one, or more than one, do you know?
Probably more than one.
Would it be fair to say that most UC officers requirement of the job, correct?
They wanted it, yes.
You, I believe, testified that you came down Vine Street. Do you know where you came from?
I believe we were, again, on Calhoun, that area. I think we went down south on Ohio. We would have went east on McMillan and then south on Vine Street.
When you say south on Vine Street, you would have been headed from the UC campus toward this downtown direction, correct?
Correct.
And you knew, did you know where Phil was at that time?
Yes.
Have you ever been back there before?
I don't believe so.
And you had heard, your information was that Officer Tenzing was on Phil, is that right?
Yes.
So you turned left off of Vine Street onto Phil, correct?
Correct.
And what did you see?
We didn't see anything at that point.
What did you do then?
Continued around Phil until it turned on to Rice Street.
And that is when you saw Officer Tenzing's cruiser?
Yes.
And that was parked right around the corner, is that correct?
Correct.
Was it parked right behind the car you now know as Sam DeVose's car?
It was behind it, yes.
You know how much distance separated them?
I don't.
Did you observe another car parked in front of Sam DeVose's car?
I don't recall that vehicle, no.
Have you subsequently learned that there was a vehicle parked there?
Yes.
You didn't notice that on July 15th, correct?
I don't recall it, no.
July 19th.
I don't recall it.
You didn't put it in your little diagram?
No.
Okay. Did you notice how Sam DeVose's car was parked?
Along the curb.
Did you notice how the wheels were positioned?
No.
Did you notice how Ray Tenzing's cruiser was parked?
Not really, no.
And why would you not have noticed those things?
Because when I was first getting out of the vehicle, it wasn't important.
Is it correct there were other things happening?
Yes.
I think you testified that you were in the passenger seat, correct?
Yes.
And so you would have gotten out on the sidewalk side of your vehicle?
Correct.
Did you notice anybody else on the sidewalk?
I don't recall.
Have you subsequently learned there was an individual walking up that sidewalk?
Yes.
You didn't notice him?
No.
Never communicated with him?
No.
If you testified that you observed a liquor bottle, or you observed some kind of bottle on the roof of the DeVose's car?
Yes.
What did you observe about it?
Just that it looked like one of those plastic flask bottles that you get from a corner store.
What did that signify anything to you?
Possibly an OVI.
And did you subsequently have any contact with that bottle?
No.
See what happened to it?
I saw it on the ground as I was leaving the scene.
Where was that in comparison, if you can recall, to where it was when it was sitting on top of the car? Was it at the same point in the road?
No. I don't recall.
Now, you indicated that you observed the bottle on the roof and saw Officer Tenzing's hand on the door, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember which hand it was?
No. I believe it was his left because I think he had his right hand on the roof of the car.
Okay, and looking at the duty belt in front of you, are you able to determine from looking at that what hand an officer would shoot with?
Right-handed.
How do you determine?
Side of the belt that they got your opening here. So as the belt's facing up with the opening here, holster's on the right side.
Are there any officers who have holsters on both sides of their duty belt?
No, not that I've seen.
So if it's on the right-hand side, that means that officer shoots with his right hand, correct?
Correct.
You talked about the OPATA standards before. Remember that on your direct examination?
I don't remember talking about the certifications, but
Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with the PATA section with reference to reaching into automobiles?
No.
Do you recall being taught that if an officer is going to reach into a car, he should reach in with his non-dominant hand?
I don't recall that.
With reference to non-dominant hand, do you have any idea what that might be?
It's the hand that you do not shoot with.
So if somebody wears or has their holster mounted on the right-hand side of their duty belt, you could fairly conclude that he's right-hand dominant when it comes to shooting, correct?
Yes.
Now, you said the next thing you observed after you saw Officer Tenzing's hand on the door, starting to open the door. Were you able to see what the occupant of the vehicle, Sam DeBose, was doing?
No.
You never saw any movement from him?
Not that I recall, no.
You testified, I think, that you saw Officer Tenzing quickly reach into the car, correct?
Yes.
And you've used the term lunge. What does that mean to you?
Just a quick movement.
Does it imply to you that, do you mean by that the whole body went into the car?
No.
Did you ever see Officer Tenzing's whole body go into the car?
No.
What did you see?
Him reaching into the car.
And that was a very quick movement, correct?
Yes.
What happened next?
After Officer Tenzing reached into the vehicle,
Yes.
I heard squealing tires. I saw the vehicle start to move away from the curb, gunshot, and then the vehicle continued down Rice Street, and then Officer Tenzing fell away from the vehicle.
Is there any question in your mind that the sequence you just described is the order in which things happen?
No.
Okay. Do you know whether the car was started or stopped, when the engine was running or not running when you pulled up on the scene?
I don't know.
Do you recollect ever hearing the engine start?
No.
First thing you heard or saw was after Officer Tenzing reached into the car quickly was you heard squealing tires.
Yes.
The car began to move.
Yes.
Did it go straight or did it go to the left?
It was pulling away from the curb to the left.
And you testified that you were not able to see Officer Tenzing's lower portion of his body, correct?
Correct, I don't recall.
You heard the squealing tires, the car began to pull away from the curb to the left, and where was Officer Tenzing?
Still near the driver's side door.
Was his feet in the air? Was he, do you know?
I don't recall.
You don't recall or you didn't see him?
I don't recall seeing his legs.
Were you able, when you heard that car, or when the car was pulling away from the curb, could you tell whether or not it was accelerating?
It was.
Could you make a determination of whether it was a rapid acceleration or a slow acceleration?
It seemed rapid.
Why was that? And what gave you that idea?
The squealing tires typically is the tires not getting traction on the pavement. That's usually from pretty quick acceleration.
Are you able to estimate how fast the car was going?
No.
In your interview, you indicated that as that was happening, you saw Officer Tenzing falling backwards. Is that correct?
After the vehicle was pulling away, yes.
How was he falling backwards? Can you amplify that?
I can.
Did you see how he ended up?
On the ground. I mean, he was standing. I think he was on his butt, standing up is what I recall.
Okay. Can you tell ladies and gentlemen of the jury how quick all that happened?
It was very fast, a couple of seconds tops.
As part of your duties with the UC Police Department, are you a driving instructor?
I am.
Can you testify, or are you able to say how the wheels of the car, the rear wheels of the car might move in relation to the front wheels of the car?
Yeah, there's it's called rear wheel tracking. When you're turning the vehicle either left or right, the back tires don't track completely in line with the front tires. Give you an example, if you're making a right turn around from one street to another, your front tire's making around the turn, but you hit the curb with your back tires. That's because those back tires, again, don't track completely in line with the front. They pull to the inside. So if you're making a right-hand turn, the tires will pull off to the inside. A better example is a semi-truck. If you see when they make turns, they go far to the left so that their trailer doesn't hit the curb. But cars, it's the same idea. You need to make allowances for that back tire.
Do you teach officers as part of your job how to position themselves with reference to cars?
As far as where to stand during a traffic stop?
Yes, sir.
When I'm training somebody, yes.
How do you train?
I try to stand at the B pillar.
And do you talk about how far back they should stand from the car?
No.
Okay. If I just understood your testimony about tracking, is it correct that if an officer is right next to a car, as it pulls away to the left, that it could very easily hit that officer?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that Officer Tenzing came loose somehow from that car, correct?
Yes.
Did you see his arm stuck in the car?
No.
Where was he with reference to when he came loose from the car and you saw him on his butt on the road? Where was he with reference to where you had seen him start out?
He was further down the street and further out into the street than when he was standing next to the vehicle originally.
You don't know how he got there?
No, he was moving with the car. That's all I saw.
Would a discharging your firearm cause you to travel as far as he did?
No.
You didn't see him running, correct?
No.
Didn't see him walking next to the car?
No.
You continued on down to where the car came to rest there at Rice and Valencia, correct?
Yes.
And you had activated your body-worn camera at some point during this whole situation, is that right?
Yes.
How soon, do you remember when you did?
When I was standing next to Sam Bo's vehicle.
Okay, and you did not before, for what reason?
I just wasn't thinking about it.
Okay, is it correct that there was a lot going on?
Yes.
There wasn't anything sinister about you not turning it on, correct?
No.
You had other things to be concerned with?
Yes.
When you got down to the vehicle, obviously you had a conversation with Ray Tenzing, correct?
Yes.
What was Ray's demeanor at that point?
He seems... I don't know how to describe it. He wasn't upset. He was... I can't describe it.
That's sustained.
Officer Kidd, you indicated that you described the items on the duty belt of Ray Tenzing. I didn't hear you mention anything about a taser.
No.
Is there a taser on that duty belt?
There is not.
Why not?
We were... they took our tasers away back in, I believe, 2011.
When you say they took your tasers away, who did that?
The university. They decided the taser was not going to be part of our equipment anymore.
So that's not an option you have in a situation such as this, correct?
Correct.
You demonstrated the retention system on the holster, and Mr. Teager had you show how that works. And you talked about the hood, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Teeger had you identify a two-step procedure to do what with that hood?
To put the hood in the forward position.
And that's something that's the first thing you have to do in order to remove the weapon from the holster, is that right?
Yes.
And is that something that an officer can do? I mean, when would you flip that hood forward?
There's multiple situations. Anytime you think you might need to draw your weapon, anytime you're not sure about a situation, if we're clearing a building and, say you got an alarm on a building, we don't typically draw our weapons when we're walking through because we get staff that go in there, but you would typically drop the hood on it in case you needed your weapon quickly.
What about at a traffic stop?
Yes, you could.
Do you?
Generally, no.
Sometimes?
Yes.
And that's a situation-by-situation determination you make?
Yes.
What might make you do that?
If the vehicle has warrants attached to it.
How about when you have contact with the driver of the vehicle? Is that something you might do?
If in talking to a driver you start getting the feeling like he's reaching around too much, you're not sure what he's doing, if you feel like you may have to draw your weapon at some point, yes, you would put it down.
Do you know whether Ray Tenzing had dropped the hood on his holster? Could you tell from your observations of him on July 19th?
I could not.
Now, when you got to down to Rice and Valencia, Ray Tenzing, you had conversation with him, correct?
Yes.
And do you remember? We just heard it on your video there. Do you remember Ray Tenzing telling you that he was dragging me?
Yes.
I thought he was going to run over me.
Yes.
And you responded what?
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that, correct?
Yes.
And today you're saying, well, actually, I didn't see it.
Correct.
That this was right there at the time it happened, in the heat of the moment. You said, I saw that, correct?
Yes.
And do you remember a second time Ray Tenzing said he was dragging me? You said, yeah.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Again, I saw Officer Tenzing moving right beside the vehicle when it was pulling off, so it made sense.
Then Ray Tenzing, or you said to Ray Tenzing, remember saying, are you good? And Ray said, I just got my hand and my arm caught. And you said, yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
Did you in fact see that or not?
No.
Well, why would you agree with Ray that you saw it?
I don't know.
You haven't been put under any pressure to change anything you saw on July 19th, have you?
No.
By anybody you see?
No.
You're not in fear of losing your job over this?
No.
Remember telling Sergeant Gutierrez on the scene there that Lyndon Schmidt and I saw it? And Gutierrez asked you, so did you see him get dragged? And you said yes?
Gutierrez, that's Sergeant Weibel, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sergeant Weibel.
Yes.
As you were walking back with the Cincinnati police officer at the end of this down Rice Street, or down Rice Street, you saw the gin bottle laying in the street, correct?
Yes.
And you also saw a flashlight laying in the street?
Yes.
You didn't move either one of those, correct?
I did not.
Okay. And those both, the gin bottle was the same bottle you saw on the hood of the Honda Accord when you first pulled up?
Yes.
And did you learn that the flashlight belonged to Ray Tenzing?
Yes.
And that would have been at some point in his duty belt, correct?
Correct.
And somehow it was not when you walked back down the street.
Yes.
And I believe you testified that cruiser Ray Tenzing was moved, correct?
Yes.
And you said something to the effect, if I heard you correctly, that was unfortunate. Did you say that?
I said I would not have instructed Officer Lindenschmidt to do that, yes.
Why would you not have instructed him to do that?
Because it would have been part of the investigation.
An important part of the investigation, perhaps?
Yes.
And did you learn later that Officer Lindenschmidt also had some contact with that flashlight?
I was told yes.
And I believe we'll see on his video that he picked it up, but he put it back in about the same spot.
Yes.
Officer Kidd, I'd like to ask you a couple questions about the firearms requalification process, or qualification process at the University of Cincinnati. Are you required to be qualified with your weapon?
Yes.
How often do you have to qualify?
Once a year.
And where do you do that?
Indian Hill Range.
And is there another UC officer who kind of oversees that?
Yes.
Okay. When you are, does that involve target shooting?
Yes.
What is the policy with reference to shooting at a person?
We have a silhouette. It's got a light gray area that's the preferred zone. You're supposed to just hit the target in the light gray area.
And where is that light gray area?
From about the waist up to the head.
And are you ever taught as part of your training to shoot to kill?
No.
Are you ever taught to shoot to wound?
No.
What are you taught?
Shoot to stop the threat.
Is it correct you're taught to shoot to stop the threat until the threat is over?
Yes.
Mr. Teeger had you identify the UC firearms and deadly force policy. Remember that?
Yes.
You know that part of that policy says an officer may use deadly force to protect himself or others from what he reasonably believes to be an immediate threat of death or grievous bodily harm.
Yes.
Is that contained in that policy?
Yes, sir.
And the policy also says officers should not discharge a firearm at or from a moving vehicle except as the ultimate measure of self-defense or defense of another when the suspect is using deadly force. That's part of the policy.
Yes.
Officer Kidd, once more, you indicated right at the time this occurred that you saw Ray Tenzing being drugged.
Yes.
And today you're saying that's not correct.
Yes.
But you do know that he somehow ended up further south on Rice Street from where he started out with Sam LaRose, correct?
Yes.
And you don't know how he moved.
No.
God knows.
Mr. Teeger, redirect.
Thank you, Judge. As far as the sequence, Officer Kidd, you had told the jury a few minutes ago that the car, you heard squealing tires, the car moved, and then the shot. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And You felt pretty certain about that.
Yes.
But you had also told the homicide detectives that he lunged in with both hands.
Yes.
And you were wrong about that, fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as the holster sequence that we talked about, if somebody it was just a front plate and the driving under suspension, would you normally, is it called flip the hood for that?
Yeah, I would not.
That's all I have, Officer Sid.
Okay.
Can I
Anything else?
inquire, Judge?
Yeah, of course.
Officer Kidd, if you had somebody stop for no front license plate and driving under suspension potentially, and that person had just led you back into a neighborhood, had been slow to stop, the person was basically ignoring your request about whether or not you had a driver's license and identifying himself, he had just handed you a bottle that contained liquid that was marked gin and various other things, would that possibly cause you to drop the hood on your holster?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anything further, Mr. Teeter, based on that? Okay. Thank you. Officer Kidd, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Counsel, could you approach? Oh, goodness. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to break for today at this point. I think the next witness that will be called may take a little while, so instead of getting started with him and stopping midstream, we're going to begin with him in the morning. The same admonitions apply. You're not to be speaking about this to anybody. Anything you heard today is not to be shared, not to each other, not to family members, not to anyone. You're not to be on social media of any type. Please stay away from the news. I'm sure there's enough going on in the national news today that you can keep yourself occupied otherwise. We will begin tomorrow again at 9:30, so I'd ask that you be in my room by 9 a.m. And we'll go again from 9:30 to 1:30 tomorrow, depending on if we're at a good pausing spot. We just happen to be right on today, so I'm going to go ahead and break at this point. Thank you very much for your attention this morning, and as you can tell, it's a little bit cold. So bring something, because I'm cold and I have my robe on. That's unusual. Usually I'm very, very warm with this. So as the weather warms up, it may get warm. It'll probably get warmer in here, but because it's been a little cooler the last 2 days, you may want to bring a jacket or something in case you didn't today. And you're welcome to take it on and off during the trial. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
All rise.
I'll see, with regard to the other issue, could you please get me documentation tomorrow, and we'll discuss it tomorrow morning prior, and then we'll probably do, if we need to have a hearing or anything, we'll do it after tomorrow.
Sure, Judge.
Okay.
Could we talk about that just briefly before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that for the meeting?
I don't know.
I don't want to just go back there, so I'm staying here until then.